Imagine this. It's the year 1400. You've been working in the fields all day, sweating under itchy wool clothes. Your boots are caked in mud, and your breath smells like you've been eating onions for 3 weeks straight. Now here's the real question. Did medieval people ever bathe? Or did the Middle Ages really smell like a giant, sweaty armpit? The truth about medieval hygiene might just surprise you. 500 years ago, Europe wasn't just castles and knights. It was also dirt, fleas, sweat, and a never-ending battle against bad smells. Yet, despite what you've heard, medieval people weren't quite as filthy as Hollywood likes to show. In fact, they had a whole system for keeping clean, or at least clean enough. Today, we're stepping into their world to find out how they washed, what they wore, and whether they actually brushed their teeth. Public bathhouses were at the center of medieval hygiene. These places were surprisingly popular and served as much more than somewhere to wash. People would gather there to relax, share a meal, drink, gossip, and even conduct business. Bathhouses were essentially social clubs with tubs of hot water. One historian explains that it wasn't just about cleaning the body, it was about community and connection. But not everyone approved. Church authorities worried about the temptation of sin in places filled with naked bodies, fun, and alcohol. Still, for many ordinary people, the bathhouse was an important and enjoyable part of life. For those who didn't have access to a bathhouse, cleaning was more practical and down to earth. Buckets, basins, rivers, and wells provided the water, and washing usually meant a quick splash to the face in the morning or rinsing hands before meals. Contrary to the idea that medieval people avoided soap, they did have it, although it was made from animal fat and ash. It was harsh, smoky-smelling, and certainly not luxurious, but it worked. Hygiene was still part of daily life, even for peasants, though it looked different from what we expect today. Laundry, however, was another story. Washing clothes was labor-intensive and, because garments were expensive, not done very often. While tunics might go weeks without being cleaned. Instead, people relied on linen underclothes. Linen shirts and shifts, worn closest to the skin, were washed far more regularly. This way, sweat and dirt were absorbed by the linen, which could be boiled and scrubbed clean, while outer garments stayed relatively untouched. People genuinely believed that as long as their linen was clean, they were presentable. It was a practical system in a world where replacing clothing was not easy. Personal grooming extended to teeth, hair, and nails. People in the Middle Ages did care about their mouths. They rubbed their teeth with twigs, cloth, and herbal mixtures made of sage, mint, or even crushed charcoal. Their teeth may not have been sparkling white, but neither were they universally rotten. Hair was washed with strong soaps or rinsed with herbal infusions like rosemary water, both for cleanliness and to add a pleasant scent. Men trimmed their beards and nails with small knives or scissors, while monks took the simplest path by shaving their heads entirely. Even without modern barbers, medieval people understood the value of tidiness. But no matter how much effort individuals put into keeping clean, medieval towns and cities were filled with overwhelming smells. Streets doubled as sewers, chamber pots were emptied into alleys, and animals wandered freely, leaving their waste behind. Butchers, tanners, and other trades filled the air with strong odors that never went away. To combat this, many people carried pomanders, small containers filled with herbs and spices, to hold up to their noses. These personal air fresheners didn't solve the bigger problem, but they made life in crowded, dirty streets a little more bearable. So, did medieval people really stink? By our modern standards, they probably did. But compared to what many imagine, they were far more attentive to hygiene than we give them credit for. They bathed when they could, they washed their hands, they brushed their teeth, they combed their hair, and they kept their linens clean. They genuinely cared about not being the smelliest person at a feast. A medieval peasant might smell of wood smoke, animals, and hard work, but you would also notice the clean linen, the faint trace of herbs in their hair, and a surprising attention to grooming. So next time someone tells you that medieval people never bathed, you can say that they actually cared about hygiene far more than we assume. They didn't have deodorant, whitening toothpaste, or bubble baths, but they weren't wallowing in dirt either. And now I want to hear from you. Would you have survived medieval hygiene? Or would you have run screaming for the nearest hot shower? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to write. This channel is part of the History Hit Network.